Gemini, how to interpret universal signs and boost your spiritual connection. Life often whispers to us long before it shouts, yet many of us are too hurried or distracted to notice the gentle nudges of the universe. For Gemini, whose mind dances between ideas, possibilities, and endless streams of curiosity, learning to pause and truly listen to these signs can transform not just your path, but your entire state of being. Have you ever noticed how certain numbers repeat in your life, or how a song plays just as you're questioning something deeply within yourself? These are not coincidences, but rather the cosmic language through which the universe speaks directly to your soul. Geminis are natural communicators, yet your greatest dialogue might not be with people, but with the unseen realm of spirit, synchronicity, and higher guidance. The twin essence within you allows you to live in two worlds, the logical and the mystical. By learning to interpret universal signs, you begin to bridge these worlds with clarity and grace, deepening your trust in life's hidden orchestration. This journey isn't about superstition, nor about chasing omens with fear. It's about aligning your restless mind with the rhythm of universal wisdom. Imagine how peaceful it would feel if every confusing moment in your life carried a hidden message just for you, guiding you gently toward growth, healing, and fulfillment. As you open your heart and mind to this possibility, you'll find that the universe has always been speaking. It is you who is finally ready to listen. If this resonates with your spirit, consider sharing this light with others by liking, subscribing, or simply passing it on to someone who might need a reminder that they are never truly alone. Gemini, when we speak of interpreting universal signs, the very first step is to recognize that the universe communicates in symbols, not in linear sentences. This language is poetic, layered, and often arrives in ways that appeal directly to your curious and mercurial nature. For you, a restless seeker of meaning, these signs often appear in the ordinary moments of daily life, yet carry extraordinary significance if you allow yourself to pause and look deeper. Think of the way your intuition pulls you toward a certain book on a shelf, or how a conversation with a stranger suddenly answers the very question that had been echoing in your mind for weeks. These are not accidents. They are synchronistic events, invitations from the cosmos to awaken to a larger pattern at play. The twin essence within Gemini gives you a natural ability to perceive connections that others may overlook. While one side of you analyzes with logic, the other side feels into the invisible threads of intuition. When harmonized, these two sides create a powerful bridge between the conscious and subconscious, enabling you to interpret signs not as random occurrences, but as deliberate guidance. Let's take, for instance, numbers, one of the most common forms of universal communication. Perhaps you notice 1111 on the clock, just as you are doubting a decision, or see repeating numbers like 222 on license plates when contemplating a relationship. For you, Gemini, these moments are not trivial. They are the universe affirming alignment, reminding you that your thoughts and choices are in dialogue with a greater intelligence. Real-life examples often illustrate this more vividly. Consider someone who felt lost in their career path. Everywhere they turned, the image of a butterfly appeared, in advertisements, in conversations, even landing gently on their window. The butterfly, a universal symbol of transformation, was urging them to embrace change and step into a new chapter. For a Gemini whose spirit is fueled by growth and reinvention, ignoring such signs can create inner tension, while honoring them often opens the very doors you've been seeking. You may ask, but how do I know the difference between a true sign and coincidence? The answer lies in resonance. A universal sign feels charged, almost electric. It lingers in your awareness, tugs at your curiosity, and repeats itself until you acknowledge it. This is where spiritual practices become essential. Gemini thrives when the mind is engaged, yet the key to interpreting signs is learning to quiet the noise. Meditation, journaling, or simply taking mindful walks in nature help you notice the subtle cues around you. Imagine walking under the evening sky and asking silently for guidance. Soon after, a feather drifts across your path. For another zodiac sign, this might be overlooked, but for you, always tune into the language of symbolism. The feather is a reminder of angelic presence, of support from realms beyond. It's not about proving anything with logic, but about feeling into the message and allowing it to inform your choices. Astrologically, Gemini is ruled by Mercury, the messenger of the gods. This means your soul is uniquely wired to decode signs, dreams, and messages that others might dismiss. Your restless mind, when anchored in spiritual awareness, becomes a sacred receiver of universal frequencies. In mythology, Mercury carried messages between heaven and earth. You, dear Gemini, carry the same gift. When you allow your intuition to work hand in hand with your intellect, you become a translator of cosmic whispers, not just for yourself but for those around you. Many Geminis report that once they begin trusting universal signs, synchronicities multiply. The right teacher appears, opportunities align, friendships deepen. It is as if the universe rewards your attention with more guidance. At a psychological level, this practice also empowers you to see challenges differently. Instead of perceiving setbacks as failures, you begin to view them as signs redirecting you toward a path more aligned with your growth. For example, a Gemini who repeatedly faces closed doors in a career field may interpret this as a universal nudge to explore creative ventures instead, discovering fulfillment in writing, teaching, or healing arts. The very obstacle that once created frustration becomes an initiation into higher alignment. Ultimately, interpreting universal signs is not about seeking fortune-telling or external control. It is about deepening your spiritual connection so that you live with more trust, openness, and awareness. Every sign you notice is a reminder that you are part of something vast, loving, and intelligent. Gemini, your soul doesn't crave certainty. It craves dialogue. And the universe, patient and ever-present, is always ready to converse with you through its infinite signs. By learning this language, you transform not only how you see the world, but how you see yourself. No longer a restless wanderer, but conscious co-creator walking hand in hand with destiny. Gemini, once you begin noticing universal signs, the next step is to learn how to integrate them into your daily life, so they become practical tools for guidance rather than fleeting curiosities. Awareness alone is powerful, but transformation happens when you weave these signs into your decision-making, your emotional healing, and your spiritual practices. For you, whose mind is often pulled in multiple directions, the discipline of integration ensures that the wisdom of the universe does not get lost in the whirlwind of thoughts.
Think about dreams, for instance. Many Geminis experience vivid or symbolic dreams, yet too often these are dismissed upon waking. But dreams are one of the purest ways the unconscious and the universe communicate, bypassing the chatter of the rational mind. A Gemini who journals their dreams consistently may notice recurring images, perhaps keys, doors, or wings, that mirror inner shifts or forthcoming opportunities. One Gemini once shared that she dreamed repeatedly of standing at train stations, uncertain of which train to board. Soon after, in waking life, she was faced with the choice of staying in a stagnant job or leaping into a creative career. By recognizing her dream as a universal sign, she realized the trains were metaphors for paths available to her. The clarity she gained allowed her to choose with confidence, and life unfolded in ways she could never have planned logically. Another layer of integration is the emotional realm. Geminis are skilled at intellectualizing feelings, but may struggle to sit with them. Universal signs often mirror back your inner state, asking you to acknowledge emotions you might otherwise gloss over. Suppose you repeatedly encounter broken glass in your path. This could be a universal metaphor urging you to face the fragmented parts of your heart. Instead of brushing it aside as coincidence, you might pause, reflect, and ask, where in my life do I feel shattered, and how can I begin mending? This process not only strengthens your connection with the universe, but also deepens your connection with yourself. The sign becomes both a mirror and a healer. Symbols in nature are especially resonant for Gemini because they draw you out of your busy mental loops and into the sensory present. A hawk soaring overhead may appear just as you contemplate a bold move, encouraging you to rise above fear and see the bigger picture. A sudden rainfall might arrive during a moment of grief, as if the earth itself is weeping with you, reminding you that release is sacred. By attuning to these experiences, you cultivate a living relationship with your environment, where every element of nature becomes a messenger of guidance. The Gemini gift lies in making connections, and here you begin to see that nothing in the universe is separate. The integration of signs also helps you strengthen trust in your intuitive authority. In a world where Geminis are often told they overthink or change their mind too much, recognizing universal signs gives you an anchor. Instead of doubting yourself endlessly, you learn to align choices with the signs that appear. For example, if you are torn between two opportunities and notice feathers, angel numbers, or repeating messages around one path, you might see this as the universe gently confirming your inner knowing. This doesn't mean you blindly follow every sign. Rather, you develop discernment, blending intuition with logic in the uniquely Gemini way. The result is not impulsive decision-making, but soulful decision-making. Historically, many mystics and sages lived by signs. The ancient Greeks believed in omens delivered through animals, celestial movements, or sudden encounters. Indigenous traditions across the world taught that every element of nature carried wisdom. Stones, rivers, birds, all were sacred messengers. For a Gemini, learning these traditions can be profoundly affirming because they align with your natural instinct to find meaning in patterns. You are not making things up. You are remembering an ancient human practice of reading the language of the cosmos. Let's ground this with another practical example. Imagine a Gemini struggling with a relationship, unsure whether to stay or move on. In the span of a week, she repeatedly encounters imagery of bridges, on billboards, in songs, even in casual conversations. Bridges are universal symbols of transition, connection, and crossing into a new phase. By recognizing this pattern, she understands that her relationship is at a threshold. The universe is asking her to either build a deeper bridge with her partner or courageously cross into a new chapter alone. The clarity transforms her indecision into empowerment. On a deeper psychological level, integrating universal signs helps dissolve the illusion of separateness. Geminis often feel torn between dualities, the head and the heart, the present and the future, the logical and the mystical. But when you see signs weaving through your life with precise timing, you begin to realize there is no true split, only unity expressing itself through different forms. The twin within you finds harmony when you trust that both worlds are connected through universal intelligence. This awareness alone can quiet the inner restlessness that so often defines your journey. Finally, integration is also about reciprocity. When the universe sends you signs, it is not a one-way communication. You are invited to respond, with gratitude, with action, with alignment. If you receive a sign about starting a creative project, honor it by taking the first small step. If you feel comforted by signs of angelic presence, express thanks in your prayers or rituals. The more you engage with the signs, the more they flow toward you, like a river that swells with acknowledgement. Gemini, your role is not to passively observe but to co-create, to join in the dialogue with spirit that is always unfolding. By learning to integrate universal signs into your dreams, emotions, environment, decisions, and spiritual practices, you move beyond curiosity into true transformation. The signs are not external decorations on your path. They are the path itself, illuminating each step as you walk toward greater spiritual connection. And when you, Gemini, embrace this integration, your restless duality finds peace in the wholeness of universal guidance. Gemini, as your awareness of universal signs deepens, you begin to notice a profound truth. The universe does not simply send you signs to guide external choices. It also uses them to initiate your inner awakening. Signs are not only about what job to take or which relationship to nurture. They are mirrors of your spiritual evolution. They reflect your readiness to step into higher consciousness, your need to release what no longer serves you, and your hidden potential waiting to be expressed. This is where signs move from being occasional guideposts into becoming catalysts for transformation. The restless mind of Gemini is both a gift and a challenge. You crave stimulation, variety, and exploration, but this can scatter your energy. Universal signs often arrive precisely when you are spread too thin, pulling you back toward alignment. For example, imagine a Gemini overwhelmed by juggling multiple projects. In the midst of chaos, they keep encountering imagery of trees, majestic, grounded, steady. The message? to root themselves, to slow down, to focus. What may seem like a simple symbol is in fact a profound directive. Without grounding, growth cannot be sustained. In honoring this sign, the Gemini learns balance, discovering that true freedom comes not from doing everything at once, but from being fully present in each chosen path.
Another layer of this transformation lies in relationships. Gemini, your dual nature makes you curious about many connections, yet you may struggle with consistency or depth. The universe often sends signs to highlight where your relationships serve your highest good or where they drain your energy. You might notice repeating signs of water, dreams of oceans, encounters with rivers, around a friendship or romance. Water is a universal metaphor for emotional depth. The message is clear: go deeper or let go. For a Gemini who thrives in mental stimulation, this can be challenging. Yet by honoring the sign, you unlock a new dimension of intimacy and healing. There are also times when the universe tests your willingness to evolve through shadow work. Not every sign is comforting. Some confront you with what you most avoid. Perhaps you keep seeing images of mirrors at a time when you are resisting self-reflection, or hear phrases about endings when you cling to familiar. At first, this may feel unsettling. But Gemini, the twin within you, understands paradox better than anyone, that endings are beginnings, that discomfort birth growth. By leaning into the challenging signs instead of dismissing them, you transmute fear into wisdom. In this way, universal signs not only confirm what you know, they stretch you beyond what you think you know. They invite you to live as a bridge between the visible and invisible worlds, a role your Mercury-ruled spirit is uniquely equipped for. Mercury in myth was not only a messenger, but also a trickster, using paradox and riddles to spark awakening. Similarly, signs often appear in riddles. The same song playing 3 times in unexpected places, or strangers' words echoing your private thoughts. At first, these may confuse you, but upon reflection, you realize they are designed to expand your perception. Instead of asking, "What does this mean?" you begin to ask, "What is this awakening in me?" That shift is where signs become initiations into higher consciousness. Real-world stories illustrate this beautifully. One Gemini felt trapped in a cycle of self-doubt, questioning their worth. Everywhere they turned, they encountered phoenix imagery on book covers, art, even in casual conversation. At first, they brushed it aside, but when the symbol persisted, they recognized its deeper message, a call to rise from the ashes of old identity. Inspired, they began therapy, restructured their daily habits, and stepped into a confidence that had long been dormant. The phoenix was not just a sign, it was a companion in their rebirth. This transformative process also strengthens your spiritual connection by teaching surrender. Geminis often want to control outcomes through cleverness and planning, yet signs remind you that the universe is co-authoring your story. The feather on your path, the unexpected synchronicity, the recurring dream, these are invitations to trust that unseen forces are guiding you. When you release the need to control, you create space for miracles. And in that space, your spiritual connection blossoms into intimacy. You begin to feel not only guided, but held, loved, accompanied. At a collective level, Geminis who embrace signs often become guides for others. Your natural gift of communication allows you to translate mystical insights into language that others can understand. You might share your experiences of synchronicity with friends, write about them, or simply embody the wisdom they've given you. In doing so, you become a messenger of hope, reminding others that they too are guided. This is one of the hidden purposes of Gemini energy. Not only to receive the signs, but to carry them forward, weaving threads of meaning in a world that too often feels fragmented. In the end, Gemini, signs are not about predicting your future. They are about awakening you to the present. They remind you that every moment is infused with divine intelligence, waiting for your recognition. When you begin to see the universe as alive with messages, the ordinary transforms into extraordinary. A walk becomes communion, a dream becomes prophecy, a challenge becomes initiation. And in this state of living awareness, your spiritual connection is not a distant goal, but a lived reality. You realize that the twin within you, the logical and the mystical, are not at odds, but partners in decoding the sacred language of life. Gemini, As the journey of interpreting signs unfolds, a new horizon opens. You realize that the universe is not only speaking to you, but also through you. This is where the dialogue shifts from passive observation to active participation. The signs you receive are not simply clues for your own path. They are also invitations to embody and express spiritual wisdom in a way that uplifts the collective. Your dual essence gives you the ability to translate the ineffable into words, symbols, and stories that others can understand. In this sense, you are not merely a seeker of signs, but a living sign yourself, an embodiment of cosmic communication. This stage requires courage, for Geminis often fear being misunderstood. You may wonder, what if I misinterpret the signs? What if others think I'm imagining things? But here lies the paradox. The more you trust the authenticity of your connection, the less validation you need from the external world. When you speak from your lived experience of synchronicity, your words carry resonance. They may not convince everyone, but they will awaken those who are ready. Think of a Gemini who begins sharing their encounters with angel numbers, dream symbols, or messages from nature. At first, they hesitate, but soon they discover that their openness inspires others to share similar experiences. What once felt like a private language becomes a bridge of collective healing. Hermetic wisdom teaches that as above, so below, as within, so without. For Gemini, this principle becomes deeply personal. When you interpret signs and allow them to transform your inner world, your outer world naturally shifts to reflect that change. Conversely, when you notice shifts in your outer world, new opportunities, sudden endings, unexpected blessings, they too are signs of inner alignment. This realization dissolves the artificial boundary between you and the cosmos. You begin to see yourself not as a separate observer, but as an integral part of a vast conversation where every thought, choice, and vibration contributes to the unfolding pattern. This perspective can be life-changing in moments of uncertainty. Suppose you're facing a major transition, a move, a career change, a shift in relationships. Instead of spiraling into indecision, you attune yourself to the dialogue of signs. A friend calls at just the right time with advice. A book accidentally falls open to a passage about courage. A song lyric echoes the very question in your heart. At first, these may seem small, but for you, Gemini, they weave together into a clear fabric of meaning. The twin within you learns to dance gracefully between doubt and trust, logic and intuition, until what once felt restless now feels guided.
Let us ground this in a story. A Gemini artist once struggled with whether to leave their corporate job to pursue painting full-time. Torn between practicality and passion, they began to notice repeated signs of brushes, colors, and canvases on social media, in dreams, even in conversations with strangers. At first, they dismissed it as coincidence. But when the pattern persisted, they chose to honor it as a universal directive. Within months of embracing their art, doors opened. Exhibitions, collaborations, financial support. Looking back, they realized the signs were not only guiding them, they were shaping them into a messenger of creativity for others. Gemini, when you allow yourself to embody the messages you receive, you become a transmitter of light. This does not require preaching or convincing. It happens naturally through the way you live, speak, and create. Your curiosity draws others in. Your words unlock new perspectives. Your presence itself becomes a reminder that the universe is alive with meaning. And because you are ruled by Mercury, your ability to adapt language, imagery, and metaphor allows you to express these truths in ways that meet people where they are. There is also a healing dimension here. Many Geminis struggle with the fear of inconsistency, of being scattered or two-faced. But in truth, your duality is sacred. It allows you to hold multiple perspectives, to weave opposites into harmony. Interpreting signs teaches you that life itself is full of dualities, light and shadow, beginning and ending, silence and sound, and that both are necessary for wholeness. By embracing this, you begin to heal the inner tension that once made you restless. You no longer see your duality as a flaw, but as a gift that mirrors the very structure of the universe. Signs also deepen your relationship with time. Geminis often live in the fast flow of ideas, leaping ahead to the future or darting back to the past. Universal signs, however, ground you in the now. They remind you that the present moment is where the divine speaks most clearly. A repeating number on a clock, a bird landing just as you think a certain thought. These are anchors that pull you into presence. And in presence, your spiritual connection is magnified. You realize that you do not need to chase meaning. Meaning is already here, unfolding in real time, if only you are willing to notice. Perhaps the greatest gift of this stage is the sense of belonging it creates. Geminis can sometimes feel like outsiders, wandering between worlds. But when you live attuned to signs, you discover that you belong everywhere. The universe becomes your home. Every encounter a conversation, every synchronicity a reminder that you are exactly where you need to be. This belonging is not bound by place or circumstance. It is a belonging to life itself. Gemini, the more you embody universal signs, the more you embody your true essence, the divine communicator, the bridge between realms, the twin who unites heaven and earth. You are not just interpreting signs, you are becoming one. And in doing so, you invite others into the same dance of awareness, reminding humanity that we are never alone, that the cosmos is always speaking, and that every moment, however ordinary, is infused with the extraordinary. Gemini, by now your journey with universal signs has carried you from awareness to integration, to transformation, and finally to embodiment. But there is still a deeper layer. How to sustain this connection so it becomes a lifelong spiritual practice, rather than a fleeting experience. Because here is the truth. Signs are not given once. They flow continuously. The question is not whether the universe speaks, but whether you continue to listen, respond, and grow with it. This final step is about cultivating a lifestyle where your dialogue with the cosmos becomes second nature, a rhythm as natural as breathing. The Gemini spirit thrives on movement and variety, but this can also create instability in spiritual practice. One moment you are devoted to journaling dreams, the next you abandon it for weeks. One day you meditate on synchronicity, the next you are swept away by distractions. This fluctuation is natural for you, yet sustaining a spiritual connection requires anchors, simple practices that keep you attuned even when life gets busy. Think of them not as rigid rules, but as touchstones. For example, creating a daily ritual of asking the universe one simple question in the morning, "What message do you have for me today?" can open your awareness throughout the day. You may notice the answer in a passing conversation, in a symbol on a street sign, or in the silence of your own heart. By making it a habit, you build an ongoing relationship with signs, like checking in with a beloved friend. Sustaining connection also means trusting the slow unfolding of signs. Geminis, with your quick mind, often want instant clarity. But not all signs reveal their meaning at once. Some require patience. You might dream of a door for weeks before realizing it symbolizes the opportunity you are now ready to walk through. You may see recurring symbols of travel long before your life circumstances align with an actual journey. In this way, signs train you in spiritual patience, reminding you that timing is divine. By honoring the mystery instead of forcing answers, you cultivate humility and grace. At the same time, sustaining connection calls for courage and action. It is not enough to notice and interpret signs. You must also embody them through choices. Many Geminis delight in gathering meaning but hesitate to ground it in reality. For instance, you may keep receiving signs about writing a book, yet never put pen to paper. Or you may see repeated affirmations about healing, yet avoid seeking therapy or training. The universe will keep nudging, but transformation only blossoms when you act. By taking even small steps aligned with the signs, you signal to the cosmos that you are a willing co-creator. Action is your prayer in motion. Sustenance also comes through community. As a social sign, Gemini flourishes in connection with others. Sharing your experiences of synchronicity, your interpretations of dreams, your encounters with symbols, allows you to strengthen your faith. Sometimes another person will notice a pattern you missed, or confirm a resonance you doubted. Together, these shared reflections weave a collective web of meaning. In this sense, universal signs do not belong to you alone. They are part of a larger symphony where each soul contributes a unique note. For Gemini, whose gift is communication. This sharing is not just beneficial, it is essential. You are born to exchange wisdom, to carry messages, to remind others of their own dialogue with the universe. From a deeper esoteric perspective, sustaining connection also means aligning with the Hermetic principle of vibration. Everything in the universe is energy, moving, resonating, communicating. Signs are simply vibrations made visible, bridges between frequency and form. As a Gemini, you are attuned to this principle instinctively. Your curiosity picks up on subtleties others miss. By raising your own vibration through practices of joy, gratitude, and presence, you naturally attract clearer and higher signs. A restless mind at low frequency may interpret fear as guidance, but a centered spirit at higher vibration will recognize truth. Thus, sustaining your connection is as much about tending your inner state as it is about reading external patterns. Let us imagine another Gemini at a crossroads. They are torn between moving abroad for new experiences or staying home for stability. Over time, they keep seeing airplanes, maps, and even overhearing conversations about exploration. At first, they resist, clinging to comfort. But when they finally align their inner vibration, releasing fear, cultivating excitement, the signs become undeniable. They act, and the journey unfolds with unexpected ease, supportive friends, financial resources, meaningful encounters. Here we see the sustaining power of universal dialogue. When you nurture your vibration, the universe amplifies its messages with clarity. Finally, sustaining this practice is about surrender. Geminis often struggle with the need to understand everything, to solve the puzzle of signs perfectly. But the ultimate wisdom is this: you do not need to know it all. You need only to trust enough to take the next step. Signs are breadcrumbs, not full maps. They lead you one step closer, then another, teaching you to live in trust rather than control. And paradoxically, when you stop demanding total clarity, the guidance flows with more ease. The universe does not require you to be perfect, only present. Gemini, by weaving these practices into your life, ritual, patience, action, community, vibration, surrender, you transform your relationship with universal signs into a living rhythm. No longer scattered or restless, you become anchored in dialogue with the cosmos. You realize that signs are not occasional miracles but everyday companions, guiding you not only toward goals, but toward your highest self. And as you sustain this connection, you embody your true role, a messenger of meaning, a twin soul bridging earth and sky, a living sign of the infinite wisdom that pulses through all things. Gemini, your journey through the language of universal signs has revealed that you are not a wanderer lost in chaos, but a communicator walking hand in hand with the cosmos. From noticing the whispers of synchronicity, to integrating them into your choices, to embodying their wisdom in the way you live, you have discovered that the universe has always been speaking, and now you have learned to listen. The restless mind that once chased meaning in 1,000 directions has found its anchor in dialogue with the unseen. The twin within you has discovered harmony, logic and intuition, intellect and spirit, both working together as partners in the dance of life. As you step forward, remember that every moment can be a sign, every encounter a messenger, every challenge a hidden initiation. You no longer need to search desperately for answers outside yourself, for you are now attuned to the rhythm of universal guidance. The signs will continue to arrive, not to control you, but to empower you, not to predict the future, but to awaken you to the present. Trust that what comes your way is not random. It is part of the sacred conversation between your soul and the cosmos. So, Gemini, live as the sign you were born to be. Share your stories, notice your dreams, trust your intuition, and let your curiosity lead you deeper into the mystery. The more you honor the signs, the more you realize that you are never alone. You are always guided, always loved, always connected. And perhaps the greatest gift of this awareness is not only how it transforms you, but how it ripples outward to inspire others. For in embodying this wisdom, you become a living message of hope, a reminder that the divine speaks in every breath, every step, every moment. If this journey speaks to your soul, I invite you to reflect. What signs have shown up in your life recently? How did they guide you, challenge you, or comfort you? Share your experiences in the comments below, for in sharing, you add your voice to the universal dialogue, helping others see that the language of the cosmos is alive in their lives too.